Everyone around you is obsessed with becoming more. More money, more status, more recognition. But then there are some people who quietly opt out. They're not loud about it. They don't announce it. They just stop chasing. And that confuses people. They're called lazy, unmotivated, wasted potential. But psychology tells a very different story. Because people who don't chase success aren't broken. They're not weak, and they're definitely not all the same. They're wired differently. And once you understand how, you'll never look at ambition the same way again. The lie we're taught about success. From a young age, we're taught something very simple. If you're ambitious, you matter. If you're not, something is wrong with you. Achievement becomes a proxy for worth. But psychology doesn't define motivation that way. In fact, decades of research show that human motivation is not universal. Different brains respond to different rewards. And for some people, the modern idea of success stops working altogether. Not chasing success isn't always failure. Sometimes it's a psychological decision. Let's break down the 4 types of people who step away from the chase, and why. 1. The burned idealist. This person used to care, a lot. They were driven, ambitious. They believed effort would be rewarded. And then something happened. Maybe they gave years to a job that discarded them. Maybe they watched someone less capable get ahead through politics or luck. Maybe they tied their identity to achievement and lost. Psychologically, this is not laziness. It's motivational burnout. When effort repeatedly fails to produce meaning or fairness, the brain adapts. Motivation shuts down to protect the nervous system from further disappointment. This is closely linked to learned disengagement, a well-documented response where people stop investing energy in systems they no longer trust. Their calm isn't peace, it's armor. They don't chase anymore because chasing once hurt too much, and their brain decided, never again. 2. The internal validator. This type confuses people the most. They're capable, they're intelligent, they just don't care. Likes, promotions, applause, none of it moves them. Why? Because their reward system isn't externally driven. According to self-determination theory, humans are motivated by 3 core needs: autonomy, competence, meaning. Some people get those needs met internally. Their dopamine doesn't spike from status, it spikes from mastery, curiosity, or personal alignment. They don't feel empty without recognition because their self-worth doesn't depend on it. That makes them immune to hustle culture. Not because they're superior, but because their brain simply doesn't respond to those rewards. They're not unmotivated, they're self-directed. 3. The quiet builder. This one is dangerous to underestimate. They look disengaged from the outside, but inside, they're still building, just not publicly. They reject visible metrics of success because they've learned something early. Attention distorts purpose. Psychologically, these people separate progress from performance. They understand that public success often rewards speed, visibility, and conformity, while real growth requires patience, privacy, and failure. They don't chase titles, they chase leverage. They don't post wins, they accumulate skill. They play long games that don't look impressive until suddenly they are. And because they're not signaling ambition, they're often mistaken for having none. 4. The existential opt-out. This is the rarest type. They don't just reject the race, they question why the race exists at all. They ask uncomfortable questions. Why is success defined this way? Who benefits from this model? What happens if I win something I never wanted? This mindset aligns with existential psychology, which focuses on meaning rather than achievement. For these people, success without meaning feels hollow, and meaning without success feels acceptable. They don't want the prize because they don't believe the prize leads to fulfillment. They're not afraid of failure. They're afraid of wasting their life chasing something that isn't theirs. Why chasing less can feel safer. Here's the part no one talks about. Chasing success requires vulnerability. You have to believe effort will matter. You have to risk disappointment. You have to attach identity to outcomes you don't fully control. Stepping away reduces emotional exposure. Psychologically, it lowers anxiety, comparison, and ego threat. That doesn't mean it's always healthy, but it explains why opting out can feel like relief, especially in a culture that equates exhaustion with virtue. The mirror moment. If this video made you uncomfortable, that's not an accident, because deep down, you already know which type you are. Maybe you stopped chasing because you were hurt. Maybe because you never needed approval. Maybe because you're building quietly. Or maybe because you see the whole system differently. None of these make you superior. None of them make you broken. They just reveal how your mind assigns value. And that shapes everything: your goals, your stress, your identity. Not everyone is meant to climb the same mountain. Some people were never meant to climb at all. They were meant to walk elsewhere. The real danger isn't not chasing success. The real danger is chasing a version of success that doesn't belong to you. So now I want to hear from you. Which type are you? The burned idealist, the internal validator, the quiet builder, or the existential opt-out? Comment below. And if you want psychology that doesn't flatter you, but actually explains you, subscribe. We go deeper next time.